Welcome to Chris Horner's Motorcycle Essentials. We got the new 2024 350 XCF Factory Edition. Now, if you guys saw the earlier video, you saw the 250 XCF, the 2024. It didn't run. It's still at the shop. And while I was at the shop, the Factory Edition came in, the 350, so I had to grab it. Sorry it's not all clean and pristine. I'll show you one super clean and pristine picture with it. But I wanted to ride so much, Garrett couldn't get out the first day to do the shooting, so I went ahead and rode the bike. I can tell you right now with it sitting here, it's amazing. I traded in the 23 350 XCF for this one, and I had a 21 Caleb Russell 350, so I traded two 350s for one 350. You'd think I was crazy, but the whole day when I was riding this beautiful Factory Edition 350, I could tell you it was well worth it. It rides magnificent. The spring fork over the air fork is fantastic. It's what I thought I was going to get and why I got the 250 XCF originally, so that I could try out the spring fork over the air forks that they had from the 23 year, the earlier ones. And so I could tell you now, after riding this one time, it's magical. I was very impressed on my 24 250 XCW with the spring fork, how it worked. And when I found out that they were coming to the 4-strokes, I had to get one. And every time when I was riding this bike, it was going through the whoops, something magical. It tracks straight, much like the 23 edition does. The 23 is the next generation, same generation as this in the 4-stroke. But of course, with the spring fork, it's added a bit more comfort level when you're out here on the trails over the air fork. And then of course, this bike lines up straight, goes through the whoops, something magical as the new generations have. And I've talked about that on the 23 350 XCF. But this bike does that same stuff, and it's even smoother through the whoops with the spring fork. It's really, really fantastic. I recommend it highly if you're in the mood for getting a new bike, or if you're ready to upgrade to a new bike. The new 4-stroke 24 XCFs are absolutely well worth the upgrade of going to the next model. I was ripping this thing up big time on Saturday, a couple days back without Garrett here, and going through some hard hits that they've got over here at East Fort Rock, where we're at and ready to shoot. And we'll show you some of the video from some of how big some of the whoops are, but the bike just sucks it up when it's bouncing through and you're jumping through the whoops. If it gets a little bit out of hand because you weren't paying attention, you let the bike slip a little bit, I just pull the bike straight back in, twist the throttle harder, and the bike lines up and starts going straight through the whoops with no problem. Something perfect. Now about these 4-strokes over the 2-strokes, of course, I always think the 2-strokes are a little more playful, a little more fun, but not quite that power and all business of going fast over the 4-strokes. So if you're talking about new generations and you're comparing them to 2-strokes and 4-strokes, remember with your 4-strokes, and certainly with your 350 and bigger, they're all business. You twist the throttle, it's something, power's coming out of the back wheel and lining the bike up and closing gaps up on your friends or leaving your friends in the smaller bikes behind. So there is reasons to go into the bigger size bikes. But today we're gonna have Garrett, he's gonna be riding the 2019 250 XCF next to me. So if you see him in the videos, that's what he's riding. And he's riding that one because, like I said, they still haven't fixed my 24 over at the dealer. It's still there. It's got a problem with the clutch. If you haven't watched the earlier video, clutch issue there that they're still trying to figure out. It won't go into 3rd gear or 4th gear, the clutch stops working. So that's why you see Garrett on the 2019. All the older bikes have gotten pushed out of the garage. Now we're moving to the new generation, because ever since I rode that 24 250 XCW, it's magic. And now I can tell you for sure these 4-strokes are definitely going that same direction. They are fantastic, enjoyable, and I love the spring cartridge that the KTM has delivered. Other things about this bike too, keep in mind I've changed a few other things. I have the triple clamp, the X-Trig on the front. We do the Fastway pegs with the super sharp F7 cleats on the pegs so that you get maximum traction when you're on the 4-strokes. When I'm in the rocks, I prefer the little bit duller cleats so that you get a little bit, you can get your foot off the peg quickly when your bike's falling over. But out here when you're going fast, you want to be locked onto that bike as good as you can. So that's why you see my bike with the super sharp pegs. Keep in mind though, if you run those super sharp pegs, it wears out the sole of your boots fast. So if you're running expensive boots, you got to have soles that are replaceable, otherwise they'll disappear quickly. Other things about the bike that I really have enjoyed so far I've changed out the tires with running mousses inside the tire so that you don't run tubes and you're not running tubeless. You're running the foam mousse inside the tire, which always seems to help for finding traction and making that bike go fast. And I've always been in love with the Dunlop tires, so I either run the 33s or the 34s on the back. And sometimes when I'm really serious and want to go fast, I run the 3S on the front, because the 3S Dunlop tire really tracks up nice, holds the bike fast. And I was out here riding with 10 guys the other day, so we want maximum traction, so we run the best, fastest tires we can out here. Anyways, I'll show you guys some videos. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the other end of this video after I get you some clips or some motoing clips and stuff. We'll shoot you a little final say here after day 2 on the 24 Factory Edition 350 XCF. Like and subscribe. I'll see you real soon. All right. 2024 350 XCF Factory Edition, 2019 250 XCF, 4-stroke both. Garrett, he's the filmer, you know that. Let's get this going. Yeah, you see a little bit of frost right there. No, it was cold out here. Got the bike a little warmed up. Run this bike up. 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours on it. This is the second edition run. Whoa, coming in hot. Ah, made it.
Getting a little squirrely, eh?
I'm talking on the radio. I'm talking to the fans. If I stop talking, it'd be okay. On the road, we took a little bit more sag out. Felt a little bit softer than the first day I rode, where I was riding at just about 100, 101, and then we went to about 104, but it felt a little bit softer. But remember, the conditions are completely different than we had on Sunday too, with the road, with the ground being a little more frozen too. Makes it a little bit harder. Let's smooth that out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right there. Yep. Okay. Ride the 350.
Alrighty.
First ride on the new gen.
The new gen.
Yeah.
Because the other new gen 250 didn't make it.
Nope, did not.
the first time I got on this bike, I had gotten off the 125 because we were out riding, and I got stuck on a hill, and you gave me this bike so you could get the 125 unstuck.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, and so I rode it up the hill, and it went right up the hill I was just stuck on, like nothing. It just rode right up it. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then I went to give it back to you, and you rode off on the 125, so I went to follow you. And the whole time I was having troubles with the 125 for like 6 months, where it was pinging me all over the trail. So every time we got in a fast section, I'd give you like 30 seconds because I couldn't sit in your dust and trust that it would go over the rocks.
Right.
So the first time I got on this bike, I went through the same section I'm always giving you time on, and I was right on your wheel. The first time I'd ever been right on your wheel at any point in time. And I was like, man, this bike is so much better than the 125. So then I pulled up next to you afterwards, and I said immediately, I'm like, this is a cheater bike. This is a cheater bike.
That's
You're
right,
cheating.
I remember.
And then I gave you the bike back. We go a couple years longer. I hadn't ridden it for, I don't know, a year or something. Ride it again after we'd done the 125 for another 100 hours or something. And I was like, it's still a cheater bike. It's still just that much better.
Yeah.
We go get the TX300. I'm like, it's even better. The TX300, because we're riding rocks, of course. This, I think, is better for the fast stuff. And we get the TX300, and I think the same thing. You get the Crest suspension, I think the same thing.
Yeah.
And now I ride that one, and I think the same thing, where I'm just like, every new KTM I get on, I'm just like, it's a cheater bike. Every time I get on a new KTM, it's just that much better than the last bike I was on.
Yeah, I agree. Each bike is upgraded, and you go even from the 23 to 24 here, it's gotten better. It has a lot of the priority, you know, a lot of the properties of the bike feel the same from the 23 to the 24, but it's still even gotten better.
Yeah, like I just told you a second ago, while the cameras are off, like the differences are so marginal. Like the only thing that's changed is the fork, but they translate to so much more comfort on the trail.
And even though it's so marginal, how much more enjoyable is
Exactly. It's so much more comfort on the trail. Like even for the short time I just rode it, like I'm having a really bad day right now because I had some insomnia last night, and I got 3 hours of sleep, and I show up here and I'm sitting behind you because I can't sit in the roost or the dust, and then I get on that bike and I'm like twice the speed just because it soaks up all those little bumps that I don't have to think about it anymore. You just give it gas and it'll go forward.
Go right over it. Yeah, exactly. So that's really what you're getting when you're upgrading bikes. So you're just getting more and more enjoyment out of the bike, I think, anyways. A lot of people, when we see them all the time, right? People with
guys show up on their Suzuki and they're like, yeah, I paid $6 grand for this. I'm like,
some guys talking about how cheap they got their Suzuki for, their Suzuki X, 450X, whatever it was. And you look at it, you're like, yeah, but that's not fun to ride. This is fun to ride.
And fun is relative, because I've had fun on a 1974 Yamaha before, but I've had a lot more fun on these bikes.
Right,
and
exactly.
Even when I talk about my Sherco, like I genuinely think my Sherco was better for hard enduro, the kind of riding that I would do with the proper rocks, than the last gen KTM out of the box. I think the KTMs, I could have done a lot of work to it, but I didn't want to do that. And so I think my Sherco was just a tiny little step above it just for that very specific area. But even then, I always agreed that the KTMs were better everywhere else. Everywhere else the KTMs were better. Just this one area where mine was better. And now the more I ride the new KTMs, I suspect the new 300 is going to be leaps and bounds above mine in even that one little area.
So I brought that up, folks, because we have a new 300 coming one of these days, the hard enduro. It's due to show up at the shop anytime. So when we get that 300, we'll bring that out too, and of course talk about that, so you guys could get a little feel for it if you're interested in picking up a new bike, whether if it's worth it or not, or if you just like watching some YouTube videos with the new motorcycles.
Kill some time, why not?
Kill some time, right? That's what you and I do with our free time. What little free time we have. Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
We'll mow a little bit more. Guys, enjoy the video, and we'll see you out there. All right, so there you go, the new 24 350 XCF Factory Edition. Got 3 hours on it now total. Again, from the 23 to this one, it's really marginal gains from 23 to 24. Very nicely gains there when we're talking about going from the last generations to this new generation, though. It's well worth the upgrade there. When you're talking about getting rid of the air fork, though, and going to the spring fork, remember, I no longer have to pump up the fork before I leave the van each time I go for a ride. That's really nice. And that little bit of extra cushion when you're going out on the trail with the spring fork, I really like it. It's a nice upgrade. It's, like I said, marginal, but I still like it over the 23. Both bikes though, amazing, handle straight. They go through the whoops good. The back end, it's hard to lose that back end and get it swashing all over the place. So that's the big difference, I think, between this generation and the last generation. The back end just tracks nice through all the whoops and all that. It really handles good. So if you got the last generation, it's well worth the upgrade. If you got a 23, I don't know if it's worth that upgrade, but did I like it? Yeah, I'm not hoping to go back to the 23 anytime soon, that's for certain. So overall, I love the 24. It's a big hit here on the Motorcycle Essentials channel. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next edition real soon.